T minus 80 seconds. T minus 70 seconds. T minus 60 seconds. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds.
So, Yoda, just try and keep up. This is a Blues reference B, okay? Just try and keep up. Hello, and welcome to the Outpost Frequencies, brought to you by the Last Movie Outpost.com for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about film. We are still missing the Hillbilly, unfortunately.
I wouldn't say we're missing him, Bob.
Chances are we still don't know what's happened to him, but we just hope that the FBI agent who's looking after him hasn't gone mental. But apart from that, we have got Matt and Yoda with us this evening. How you guys doing? All right?
Good.
Fantastic.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, sorry about that short introduction. Yoda was just here a little late, and we just had to jump on what was going on.
Yeah, Yoda has been watching Clarkson's Farm, and he kind of misjudged the time this morning. It's like, oh shit, because it is very compelling watching. I gotta admit.
Is it?
I can't stand Jeremy Clarkson in any way, shape, or form.
I wasn't really familiar with him. I know he was on Top Gear, and I guess he hosted Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on the British side.
Mm-hmm. Briefly.
Yeah, and so he's made a pile of money, and he decided to use it to buy a farm and create this show. And what's really compelling about it, first of all, he keeps effing everything up, which I'm pretty sure is part of the entertainment experience. And that's fine. I enjoy all that. He gets into arguments with this guy that keeps helping him. I mean, they're friendly, but they just keep knocking each other down and bashing each other because of all the screw ups that Jeremy's making. But it's pretty hilarious. And then he's doing all these different things. But there is an undercurrent to the show that is really showing us how bad government is and how bad, and it's not just like the UK government, which is a part of it, but it's all the way down to the local government who are just denying stuff because they're little tin pot dictators that don't know anything about farming. They just want their town to be a certain way, and they don't, some of the stuff is just swinging their dick. That's it.
If you watch Hot Fuzz, that is a documentary about a place just up the road from me. All right.
Yeah.
He's back again. The statue's back again. Oh, we're gonna have to get rid of him somehow.
Yeah. Well, you think that's you're right. You think it's just a fun little movie. No, this is real life. Anybody I'm firmly convinced that anybody that's in any type of elected office is just there because they have no other talents and they just want to tell people what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I say, I completely agree with that. Okie doke. So It's been another interesting week. We haven't got a main topic to talk about this evening, but we've got some few bits and pieces. I've actually broken them down into 7 little pieces, Yoda, so it's easier for you to edit and get up on this live stream.
Put the banners up there. I'll chop them up. Don't worry.
Okie doke. So, last week we briefly mentioned about censoring Roald Dahl books because the words, things like fat and ugly, are words that children shouldn't hear. Although some of them should, because it would stop them. For example, if you called a child fat, it might stop them being fat. That was
fat
the whole
shaming is
premise.
good. Fat shaming is good.
That was the whole premise of what was the Central Intelligence one? It with The Rock and Kevin Hart, and the Rock was getting picked on at school because he was fat. So he did one thing to change his life, and that one thing was to go to the gym every day for 6 hours for 20 years.
There you go.
So it works.
I was at the pub on Friday and we was all talking about it. And we said we need to bring back bullying.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly helps keep kids out. I had a terrible problem.
Everyone's been bullied and everyone's bullied. So,
I was going to say, I had a terrible problem with bullying at my school. Most of the kids just didn't have any money. Anyway, so book censoring. Matt,
Wait. Jesus Christ. Can I get a word in edgewise here? Phil, you gotta step back once in a while. Jesus, I know you're the host, but give your guests a chance to shine. I'm going to take fat shaming seriously, as I'm ashamed of my fat, and so I have actually joined a gym. I haven't got my little. It's one of those 24/7 ones, so you got to get a key fob, and they don't have like anybody at the desk, but it's nice. It's right here in town, and I'm going to go do it, and I'm putting it out here so that you, the viewer, will stay on me and shame me if I don't give weekly updates and talk about it and make sure that I am staying on track. Because if I keep it quiet, then I'll have an excuse to screw it up, not go, right? So I'm
that's fair enough.
Making it tough on myself.
Good for you,
man. I've started since Christmas. I'm doing that 0 to 5K running, and I've not been drinking beer in the week, and I've been changing my diet. I've actually lost 8 pounds since Christmas.
Oh, see, you guys have got it wrong. I'm on an ignorance diet, so I just don't care.
I was waiting for the old seafood joke. I was waiting for that.
It's like if you're on an ignorance diet, does that mean you're filling up on education? Because you're keeping out the ignorance.
Yeah, my brain's going to get bigger. That's what it is. Anyway,
I look forward to seeing that.
Anyway, shut
progress.
Shut up, fatty. Let's get back to book censoring.
Go for it there, Pip.
I mean, to be fair, I could stand to lose a few pounds myself. But a gym, I don't know. If God wanted me to go to a gym, he'd have put it closer to my house. Book censoring. Matt, you wrote the article, but basically James Bond, one of the previous James Bond books is going to be censored, isn't it?
They're censoring a lot of them, mate. Not just
okay.
One or
Sorry.
Two. No, it's hot on the heels of the Roald Dahl book censorship, which they've actually backtracked now, and they're actually going to release the censorship version and the normal version for those people that are not scared of hurty words. But yeah,
this is the censored one. There's nothing in here.
yeah. Shut up, fat boy. And again, they're trying it with James Bond. They're going to edit certain words, the N word, and there's one particular instance where in Live and Let Die, he refers to the crowd of like I can't remember the exact words, like hot feral animals beating on the desks at the strippers and that, and it's now changed to like, oh, the enthusiastic crowd. So it's
I think
ridiculous.
I think we need to stop using the word censorship. At least, it's if I understand the word censorship, if you you get something that's redacted, so it has all the black lines on it, that would be a censorship. Or if they say we are not going to show this show, or we are going to remove certain parts, and we're letting you know this has been censored because of language, sexual content, things like that. That's censorship. Something comes from the government, says you're not allowed to read this, it's banned. That's censorship. The difference is that you know that there is something there, you just can't access it. I'm not saying that isn't wrong. It is, for the most part. Obviously you don't want to broadcast troop movements. I'm okay with them censoring things like that. But for the most part, a censorship is, something is there, it's being censored. What they're doing to these books is outright fraud. It's outright vandalism and fraud because
cultural vandalism.
Yeah, because you don't know. Kids reading this, they don't know that there's anything different because they don't know what it was before.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's hidden, it's deceitful, it's lying, and it needs to be called out as harsher than censorship. It is vandalism is a good word. Fraud. I mean, these are lying fraudsters who are pretending that this is what it's theft. It's you're stealing Fleming's work by changing it to be the way you want it to be, and then pretending that that's what he wrote. How is that not theft?
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're making money off of that. So, I mean, censorship is just not enough anymore. To talk about censorship just feels like a kind of a stale government, dry sort of, this is what they did. We all don't like censorship, and there is a little bit of a harshness to it, but it's not enough anymore.
No, it's exactly right in what you're saying. That, like I say, that it's completely going against, like I say, censorship. Yes, there are certain things that need to be censored. I know they say about freedom of speech, but you can't go around, threatening murder on people and stuff like that. That is, it's wrong. But when you are taking somebody's work and then just changing it for the better, they might as well go to the Mona Lisa and paint over the top of it where she's got fake tits and Alden taking a selfie of herself. You might as well do the same thing because that's updating it for modern audiences.
Well, we've been on this slippery slope for several years now, haven't we? I don't know about you, Yoda, but over here we've had a few street names that have been changed here in London. Now we're heading book censorship. Obviously, we got not allowed to say certain words on social media that we all know about. So we're on a slippery slope, and our book, and then obviously it's tearing down the statues on both sides of the Atlantic. So we're on a very slippery slope right now, and it's just the irony that a book called 1984 predicted all this. And
or Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah. That's the whole Roald Dahl thing. That's what immediately I thought of, is that you're going to have people with books in their heads and sort of saying, I'm going to read you the original version of this story because obviously it's no longer public. We can't publish it or size it anymore because of how dangerous and horrible it is. That it's gonna cause mass panic in the streets because it uses the word fat.
Well, do you know what it's done as well? Is that I've got a DVD rack here, and it's full of Blu-rays. There's probably 200, maybe 300 Blu-rays on there. And I was thinking, it's just taking up space. I don't watch most of them because they're all accessible via Netflix or Amazon or Sky or whatever. At the moment, I'm thinking I might get rid of them down. There's a shop in England, Yoda, called CEX, and you take them in there, and they go, right, we'll give you 50 quid for these, or you can have £75 in-store credit, blah, blah, blah. So I priced it all up, and it comes to about 75 quid for the whole lot. And I'm like, well, I don't really need 75 quid. I might just keep them. And then with this continuing censorship that we're getting, or not censorship, but restricting of the original content, I'm thinking I might just keep them now for the sake of 75 quid that I don't need anyway. I might just box them all up, chuck them in the loft. And keep them, because we don't know what's going to happen over the next 10 years. The path we're on, things can be so edited so badly that you're not going to have the original content. So I might just keep them.
People need to understand that when the Nazis did book burnings back in the 40s, it wasn't that a bunch of uniformed jackboots came in, took the books from the frightened civilians and burned them all in the fire. They got the civilians to do it happily. They got them to do it willingly. What you're witnessing right now is a digital book burning. Yep.
And you get the usual suspects on Twitter that bleating on and whining. Well, if you've got the original ones, why are you moaning about the new ones? Typical. You are missing the point.
Yeah.
What's the next generation going to do? These books aren't going to last forever.
No, exactly that.
But also,
Mr. Men will be next.
Didn't they say about that a little while back? about the Mr. Man. I can't remember. But with it also, you could look at this from the other viewpoint of was this a brilliant marketing scam by Penguin Books to make people think, oh no, these books are going to be censored. I'm going to go and buy them in case they ever get censored because, and just to be the
we talked
pessimist
about that.
Yeah.
I was very concerned that this is just corporate. To me, that's almost as bad. In some ways, it's just corporations getting people to flake out because there's people that support the censorship.
Yeah.
And there's people against it. So we get all fighting each other and they get all the publicity and book sales and just laugh at us. And I think there is some merit to that argument.
Yeah. Yoda, I don't know about you, Phil, but Yoda's frozen on mine. I can hear his voice, but his picture's not moving. Wave your hand,
it
Yoda.
is frozen. No, it's frozen on me too. I'll fix it.
So it's again, liberals are too ignorant to realise where this is going. You sometimes I feel perhaps we should dress up as a drag queen and take all the liberals to the local library and read 1984 to them. Perhaps they'll pay attention to it then.
The problem is, I mean, in certain places of 1984, that it's in certain areas of 1984, it's quite subtle. I just don't think they'd get it.
No. But I mean, we literally witnessed it. We've had the statues being turned down over here and in America. Mate. We've got street names being renamed. I mean, there's a street in London, called I think it's called Little Black Boy Lane or something. I can't remember.
I remember, yeah. I've read the story.
Something else. It's like, my God, what is going on here?
There are so many jokes I want to make about that, but I know we won't get away with them.
I love that the citizens are like vandalizing the new name and spray painting over the old name. They're not taking it. We need more of that. Need more of that kind of stuff. Just everybody saying no, we refuse to go by your weird religion.
I don't understand who they're kind of appealing to with this. Like I say again, it's this very small crowd on Twitter of people who
the noisy minority always.
Yeah.
Is.
And again, it's kind of like the people that live there are just kind of like, so it's called Little Black Lane or whatever. I don't care. I've lived here all my life. I'm really not interested.
The sad thing is people are probably protesting, and they're probably people that live down in the country who've just seen it on Google street names and have never been there in their entire life. It's ridiculous, but
I was thinking the other day that the problem is it's like with kind of any kind of these things that go on. You've got activists, and this is the problem, that you've got these activists. It's not the fact of that. I'm talking about trans people. This is why this conversation came up. I've got a friend who I work with who's got a stutter. Lovely guy, but he's got a stutter. But he hates having attention called to it. So whenever I chat to him, I always just try to talk to him as normally as I possibly can. He's got his stutter, but I just leave it. An activist would go, look at this poor man with a stutter. Look at this poor man. Look at this poor man's stutter, everybody. This poor man's got a stutter. We should treat him differently. And it's like, that's exactly what he doesn't want. He just wants, to have a normal conversation.
It doesn't matter what he wants, Phil. It's what makes me feel good.
Exactly. Yes. And this is the problem.
Virtue
these activists, they've got these people that have obviously got nothing going on in their lives. And so they have to bring up all these, oh, look at this person, look at that person. It's like, no, that person, like with trans people, they just want to live their lives. They don't want to be called attention to. And
but
anybody,
don't know, do they?
No. And the thing is then you get the people on TikTok going, look at me, I'm trans. And it's like, yeah, but you're not, are you? Because you're just jumping on a bandwagon. It's, I think somebody made a comment on Twitter the other day that trans is the new anorexia. A few years ago, like everybody was anorexic, weren't they? I'm really anorexic and I'm really anorexic. Now it's like everybody's trans, and it's like, what's the next thing? Let's hope the next thing's like suicide or something.
They both go hand in hand anyway. So,
do you guys read Stone Toss? Do you ever read that comic? It's on the web. It's great. But they said we got this new house in Harry Potter, and it's the trans house. They have like the colors of the scarf is the trans house. And he's like, look, Severus, they can cast spells just like all the other students. See, that one's casting levitation, and he can't see above his shoulders, but he's clearly hung himself.
Yes, I do read that. I never knew it was called that. What's it called? Stone Toss.
Stone Toss. Very funny.
Ah,
I'm so
yes,
glad
I
we
do-
can
I
talk
know
so
it.
much about movies on this movie channel.
Well, this is ultimately about James Bond being censored. Is obviously the thing that we're talking about because, like I say, because again, it's work which was written at a certain time, and like James Bond himself was a philanderer and a whatever else you want to call him and whatnot. But yeah, again, this is going to be updated now. What?
Awesome. That's what you would call him. Awesome.
Oh, right. But yeah, again, he's a strong alpha male, but he was written for that time, coming out of the war and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, they needed a hero and stuff. But yeah, he's got to be updated now. And in the last one, he's got a kid now, hasn't he? Didn't he have a kid?
Yeah.
In the last one?
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's kind of like, because he's not just sleeping around anymore. Now he's got to have kids and, you know, show that he's a nice...
They made him a black guy because he had a kid and then he killed himself to not have to father it.
Went out for some Newports about 20 years ago.
That's still one of my favourite scenes from Family Guy at the end of Indiana Jones, when him and Marion are tied to the pole and they open the ark and all these demons come out and Indy's going, Marion, whatever you do, don't open your eyes. Oh, by the way, Indy, I'm pregnant. Well, maybe open one eye. Speaking of this, we'll move on slightly. But speaking of this, Peter Pan has now been updated. Now, first of all, there's a few quite obvious things to mention about this, but there's also quite a few subtle things. Now, if you've been to the Last Movie Outpost, you'd have seen the teaser trailer. Matt, you were quite subtle in writing it up, weren't you?
Actually, I wrote that one.
I didn't write it. Yoda wrote that one.
Oh, right, sorry, but yeah, you were quite subtle about it, you know, and just sort of being quite what's the word? Not too obvious with it.
I called it Checkbox the movie.
Yeah, it is.
So, Checkbox the motion picture. It's really ham-fisted and obvious. I mean, they're not even trying anymore.
Yeah, that's right. There's no subtlety.
There's none. It was so. It couldn't have been more terrible. I I haven't checked recently. Let me check.
No,
Go
I've
ahead
got
and
it,
talk
Yoda.
amongst yourselves.
Oh yeah,
I've got it, Yoda.
How many downvotes?
Right,
How many?
yeah. So I'll start downvotes 332,000. Upvotes 39,000.
Wow. It's getting ratioed into oblivion, and
it just.
It's just I can't understand how they got to look at that and say, I don't think this is working. But yeah, you know,
is that coming out on Disney Plus?
Whether sort of somebody has said, you know, hey sir, we've got loads of likes on the new trailer, really 339,000 likes. What was that little bit just before the likes? Nothing, just dislikes. You know.
Yeah. It's well. I mean,
I said
Pinocchio
likes.
tanked terribly. Little Mermaid is obviously going to tank terribly, and now they've done it again. I mean, Peter Pan's like a little Indian kid. You've got Lost Boys and Girls.
Well, there was an
Tinkerbell
Indian.
Black,
There was Tiger Lily in the original one, but
Yeah.
the way they
Well, when I
portrayed
say
it was
Indian,
not.
yeah.
Remember, because they have a whole song in there. It goes, "Why is the red man red?" You know, that's giving them hives, and I think because they don't know any history, the red man was red because he actually painted himself red.
Yeah.
It was to look fearsome. It wasn't because their skin color was red. It's because they actually did that. So that just became a nickname. But no, now they think it's a racial thing. It's like, oh God, everything is stupid. Everything is
I don't know
stupid.
what is it
The
going
worst-
to take? I mean, how much more money are they going to lose? How much ridicule? How much more
The
ridicule
worst-
can they take?
The worst thing about this is with Peter Pan is I've watched a couple of other videos about it and so forth. And the original Peter Pan, Wendy is kind of like the pivotal character and the strong character that brings everything together. And so already the book is very subtly quite feminist. There's a line in the book. Yeah.
Critical drinker. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
he was.
I've seen a couple of others. But I've seen a couple of others, and because somebody else said that with the Lost Boys, there's a line in the book where Peter explains, and he says, you know, because the Lost Boys are just sort of all immature little kids who just, you know, don't want to grow up and everything else. Peter actually says from the book, girls are too clever to join us. And so in this new version, they've actually then dragged women down to our level to make them stupid as well. Because obviously the whole subtle message of female empowerment in Peter Pan was so subtle that the modern day writers completely missed it.
Well, I mean, take a look at the modern day, what's going on right now, right? We see women have become, because of feminism or whatever you want to call it, they've become men in a lot of ways. Well, I see all these different videos about girls bragging about their body count, and they can't figure out the guy isn't perfect because he isn't from Hallmark or something like that. So and they don't want a guy to take care of them. So the guys are not. They could get laid if they want to. Not all of them, of course, but if that's the way women are doing, they can get laid, and they never actually have to settle down and become civilized. And so they sit there, they play Xbox games all day, and they just act like children well into their 40s, right? That was the message of Peter Pan. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to start taking on responsibility. And what women do, and what Wendy did in that, and that's what women have done for so long, is she ignites the protective instincts in him to take care of the family, to take care of the children, to take care of the wife, to protect, and to do that, you have to start putting away all your childish nonsense, because all of that is self-serving. It's just for you. So
your picture's gone again, mate.
God damn it! I'm gonna have to turn that thing off. Hold on. Give me a second.
Oh, I know what that thing is. Now Yoda will never look at us in the eye again.
Yeah, maybe not. But my point is that they don't want to do this. They don't want to understand that a woman's role for a man and vice versa. As now it says it lost the connection to my camera. I may have to leave and come back.
Keep going for now, though.
Yeah, well, not if he's got to leave, you idiot.
But you're mid-flow. Don't leave just yet.
Yeah, I'll just keep talking because this will be for the audio listeners. But they don't understand that women have a pivotal role in creating civilization by getting men to stop being children. And when they don't do that, then the men end up sitting there playing Xbox or PlayStation all day, and we've had those movies failure to launch. Where does that come from? That's where that comes from.
Yeah, it's just I never understood why this whole
I'll be back.
Women, or basically telling everyone don't be like white men, and yet they're doing nothing but promoting white men's attitudes into women fighting.
Hang on.
Drinking,
if I can't be
sleeping around.
So I can't be a white man. I can't blackface. What am I supposed to do?
Be proud of being a white man. That's what I say. But look at all the women. Look at all the women's. I mean, you've gone from, if we go right the way back to Sarah Connor in Terminator 1, and obviously Ripley in Alien, and even Aliens. If you look at those female role models to what you get to say, Ripley and Sarah Connor, especially Sarah Connor in Terminator 1, never had hand-to-hand combat. In fact, Ripley didn't really have hand-to-hand combat. She was very nurturing, looking at, if you look at Aliens, looking after Hicks, looking after Newt. It was only when she really had no choice that she picked up a gun and actually had to go. But now...
But that was, again, in defence of Newt.
Yeah, and protecting Hicks as well.
Yeah.
But now, they're like... You got these 7 stone, 5'5" women fighting 6'4" blokes. They're drinking, they're whoring it up, and it's just like you're telling women to be women and not like men, but you actually encourage them to be like men. Listen, men are stupid. I was watching a video last night, and there was 2 blokes sitting on like a plastic garden table, and they had their hands on the deck, and they had these industrial strength elastic bands wrapped around. And they had a mouth organ in each of them. And they would take turns in pulling the elastic band up. And the goal is to not
make a noise
that you're in pain. And so they would do it and they'd go, and I was cracking up. My wife said to me, what's so funny when I got to watch this? She went, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah, men and menace, just such idiots. And you're going, yeah.
But we work hard, we protect our families, but we are also stupid. We enjoy fucking about and being stupid. There's nothing more enjoyable than humiliating one of your mates, whether it's physically or through joking around. I mean, I went to the pub on Friday. We're in the pub and we're all taking the piss out of each other, and it's and that's just how men are, And so this whole Lost Boys thing, and we've lost girls. Wendy was always the mother figure in Peter Pan.
And like I say, the whole book was
tarnishing the whole thing.
Wendy was the hero of the piece who helped the boys to grow up and everything else. And yet, like I say, has been, I mean, with it, it's kind of, I can't imagine the original writers have even gone anywhere near the original book. No. To sort of, and what made me laugh was when they said about, hey, and he's back. What made me laugh was when they said about men should get a taste of their own treatment and women should just choose who they want to sleep with and ghost them. To which all men are going, what? Yeah, do that.
That's an option.
Thanks very much.
No, please, just use and abuse me and then never call me again. Please.
That's the other thing, Phil. They carry on like all men have that lifestyle. And we don't.
Yeah.
I've been with my wife since I was 13 years old. Some men, most men, like to be settled down and looked after.
Again, it's funny because
all of us are just like, we're all out fishing and sharking for different women, and we're doing that. And you're like, I reckon 95% of my mates have been with their partner, their wives, for like at least 20, 30 years.
Yeah, but
they come in on like women today, holding up.
Women today aren't giving boys today or young men today those kinds of options now, are they?
No.
Well, to be fair, I've got 4 sons, and they're all in good relationships, and they've all been in relationships for a year or two now. Anyway, I mean, my son, my eldest, lives with his girlfriend now. No, but I think again, it goes back to that noisy minority. They like to portray it that this is the way society behaves, and society doesn't behave like that.
No, there's
behaviour
a few
so
examples.
Abhorrent. Yes, because their behaviour is so abhorrent and so rare that you capture on video.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't see, there is more and more young men being left by the wayside, and it's not getting much better. And when you have all these divorces, and again, maybe this is much more of an American thing, I don't know. We have so many more divorces, so many broken families, so many women listening to, and I hate to say this, but women are much more subject to these mind viruses than men are.
Because of their smaller craniums.
No, I think it's always been like this because women have always been, much more group oriented.
No.
You want to know the primary difference between men and women? Men will go to a strip bar by themselves and sit very quietly. Women have to go in a group and they lose their shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just, they go in packs. I don't know why. They all go to the restroom together. Men go by themselves. They don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's right. There's nothing I like more than going to the toilet with my mate and having a good old natter.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've been circumcised as well then? Yeah, me too. Yeah.
It's not a bad or a good thing. It's just how we're built.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Can I take a break and debut my new T-shirt?
Absolutely.
Oh, look at that. I saw on Twitter you were going to buy one. You obviously did get one. I thought his name was Zod, not Neil.
Neil! Isn't it? I see that about 5 years ago and they stopped making them, and then they, like you said, Phil, they tweeted that they're backed by demand, and I bought it there and then.
I saw on Channel 5 today, one of the crappy channels over here, they had Superman 2 on, and it was obviously the Richard Lester version, not the Donner cut. I walk in and you guys are talking about dicks. Yeah.
Well, it is Peter Pan.
I don't get that.
Oh, come on! You guys don't have that nickname for dicks. You're Peter.
No.
It must be.
Never heard that before. Obviously. From the tumbleweed silence, it was kind of me and Matt.
Apparently so.
What?
We need another tea party on this site.
Yeah, the hillbilly needs to come back.
That's right.
Anyway, right. So let's move on then. Let's move on. So I've fiddled around with these a little bit, but Alien is getting a new movie, but it's not Alien. Oh grief, where are they now? It's not like Alien after Alien Covenant. This is now going to be a new reboot because one of the main characters is going to be a Ripley type character. And most of the cast that they've cast so at the moment are all quite young. And so this is going to be kind of like it's the story is a bunch of kids literally go into the woods and find an alien on a planet. And so, yeah, but this is kind of be like a relaunching of the Alien franchise. And again, it's just one of those, just let it go. Just
how
just
are they
let
going
it
to
die.
How are they going to redo Ripley's character? Because she's already a strong female character, so I guess it's a strong black lesbian wheelchair-bound character who's Muslim.
It goes hand-in-hand combat with an alien.
Just to mention, somebody also implied in Peter Pan that we were just talking about. Somebody also implied, or they said, "How much are you willing to bet that Tinkerbell falls in love with Wendy?" As opposed to having a crush on Peter,
cool.
Obviously she's going to develop a crush on Wendy. But again, with Alien Covenant was kind of universally slated as it was just awful and completely went against all the law and everything else. And yet here they are still going, but there are still some stories to tell. There's still some stuff to do and everything. And again, it's just, guys, come on, just let it go.
They peaked with Aliens.
That's exactly what I said.
I love the Alien franchise. Love Alien, love Aliens. I've read several books. But
that's exactly what I said.
I like Covenant. I'm not even going to lie about it. I enjoyed those films, but come on, enough's enough. Stop polishing this turd.
It's one of those scenarios now where they have just the creativity in Hollywood is so unbelievably barren that they just can't, they won't risk going on any kind of new IPs or anything. They have just got to keep digging up this old past, and they'll just never stop doing it.
It's not working though, mate, because people are just like, fuck this, I can't be bothered to see it.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, like I say, I'm the same as you. I'm distraught at the whole thing. I don't understand it.
I mean,
absolutely crazy.
I couldn't stand Prometheus and Covenant either. They are just so, Prometheus is just so full of dumbness. I'm sorry. Oh, on an alien planet, take off the helmet. Okay. I mean, that's the first thing you go. Yeah. She wouldn't let him on the ship. Let alone they didn't take off their helmets. She wouldn't even let him on the goddamn ship, and they had to break protocol to get him on there. Now they're like, seems fine. All the bio nastiness is just going right into every orifice they got.
I want to see a scene with one of them, sort of like seeing all these eggs, and then just one of the guys with the spoon going,
with some toasted soldiers.
Don't
he leads right. He did that in Covenant. He was right up there with the space vagina going, oh, this is cool.
Well, the thing is about Covenant as well is they had a couple of gay guys on there. What are they going to contribute to society? They're not going to reproduce.
Maybe they were taken out there to get killed off.
Perhaps those are the drag team story hour for when everyone else had kids.
That's a really brutal conversion camp.
But again, it's one I said in the article that Alien and Aliens is a perfect set of two movies. One is a brilliant horror movie, one is an excellent action movie, and then 3 was a mess. So much so that even David Fincher never had it on his CV for an awfully long time because he was so embarrassed about it because the producers interfere with it so much. 4, I've got to admit, I like the style of 4 because it's by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who's a director I like. I like the style of it. But again, it's not a great Alien movie. It's kind of
terrible.
There's only one moment I like in 4, and that's when they are all locked into their escape pods. but they haven't launched yet. And an alien goes to the top hatch. He's like, "Oh, buffet!" He just goes in, and tears the shit out of everybody.
So what is this new one about it? I'll be honest with you, Phil. I didn't read the article because I was just like, I can't.
We never do. We know that.
I normally do, but I couldn't be bothered with this.
All I found out was that the new girl in it, who's called Isabella Mercady, I can't remember pronounce her second name.
But what's the story though?
From what I found, there's not much going on, but according to rumours, it's a group of young people on a distant planet find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So that to me,
so
when
Friday the 13th meets Alien.
Kamala Harris.
Whenever I go through quite a lot of horror film lists and stuff, and whenever a plot starts with a bunch of kids go to the woods or to a mansion or to whatever, my brain immediately goes, nope, because this is going to be the same old trope as everything else. And now this is what they're doing with Alien. That, a group of young people on a distant planet find themselves in confrontation. And it's just like, seriously?
Yeah. What happened to Neil Blomkamp's Alien? Why did that never get to go ahead?
It's a shame, isn't it? Isabella Merckx.
I'm kind of Neil Blomkamp had to me, he's one of those one-hit wonders. He's so far up his own ass with socialist nonsense. I'm just like, District 9 was good. It was interesting, but then you get to Elysium and that wonky robot movie, and it's just all
Chappy.
Chappy. Okay, I see what's going on.
He's got when I say about the style of Alien 4, the visuals and the direction of Alien 4, I really like, but it was it just wasn't a good movie, but I really like the look of it. And it's the same with Neil Blomkamp. Or whatever we want to say his name.
Blomkamp.
The visual style of his stuff is fantastic. But again, it's just kind of, tell me about the story. Well, there was, and it's kind of, it did show us the way. Top Gun Maverick showed the way. Indeed it did. So, unfortunately, we've got to sit through another Alien movie.
But they're doing a TV show, aren't they? Hadley's, what's the place in Aliens where they're set up where Newt was living? Hadley's Hope.
Point.
Hadley's Hope.
Hadley's Hope, that's it.
And again,
that could be good.
But again, it's one of those things, like you just say there, that you think, it might be all right, might be good. And so you go and see it, and then it's just like, no, they've done it again. Why? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this to myself?
I don't know why they're doing it.
Got to go anywhere.
I don't know why they're doing it the way you're saying. It's like they're going to a camp or a log cabin or something. They find it's like, oh God, it's terrifying. Why is it wearing a hockey mask and holding a machete? It's like, oh Jesus.
Well, I can see somebody. I can see one in the future where they're all in like a deserted, like you say, cabin in the woods somewhere, looking out the window, going, "What have we got? Think it's zombies." Oh, and Jason. Zombies and Jason.
Yep.
Yeah.
They'll get you in your dreams, apparently. Oh, no.
Okie doke. So, let's talk about then. Arnie is Fubar. I don't know what Fubar means. I've no idea. I haven't looked it up. But basically, this
fucked up beyond all recognition.
Yeah, I was trying to be subtle, Yoda, because I think everybody in the world knows that. Did you not know that?
I don't think everybody does, quite frankly. Have you not been on Twitter lately?
Watch Tango and Cash, man. That's where I first heard the expression.
I had it long before then.
But basically, Arnie is a CIA agent. He's very much in the guise of True Lies. He's a CIA agent. But apparently his daughter is also a CIA agent. So kind of like along the lines of, like, say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But I'm guessing that his young teenage daughter is infinitely better than him. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's something's telling me that's going to happen.
Yeah, it could well be.
You saw the trailer, right? For those of you who didn't, a teaser. Okay, so for those of you who didn't see the teaser, I think this will pretty much give you an idea of what you're looking into. Arnie comes back. He looks brash. He meets up with a woman. A woman hits him in the balls. The end. Okay. I think I know what I'm getting for my money on this one, don't you?
And again, it's just
I've
one
not
of those
bothered.
scenarios. Again, but with it, what I also wanted to bring up with this is, I mean, you had Tulsa King, which had very little woke in it, and it was just good, and it was about, you know, an aging Sly Stallone kicking ass, you know, running the mob and all this kind of stuff, and it worked really well because he was very, very good in it. But is it kind of time for these guys to just sort of go, do you know what? You know, you've had a good run and everything else. Just give it up now. Just retire gracefully, slip into oblivion with your nice home and your nice family and everything else, and just sort of give up the ghost?
I don't mind these guys doing stuff that is age appropriate. I really don't. There's no reason why a guy like, you know, Jackie Cooper, the Perry White in the first Superman, right? He was great as a grizzled editor that had been around the block. The guy started out as one of the Little Rascals. I mean, you know.
Oh, okay.
You can, you know, if he was still putting on the Spanky costume, then I'd be going, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Hey, look at me, Mom.
Yeah. Well, what is Harrison Ford doing? He's still putting on the fucking Indiana Jones jacket. I'm like, dude, you're too old for this shit. Don't do that. So, it's that kind of stuff that I object to. It's not them taking roles that are age appropriate. I really don't have a problem with that.
No, but just even sort of with this foobar looks quite action packed, and I do think to myself, like with Indiana Jones, you're just sort of thinking, oh, give the guy a break. You know, I mean, he's in his sort of 70s now. He must be Arnie at least.
Arnie,
you know,
got to be 70s, yeah.
Yeah,
you know, it's just let him retire, you know, and just let him just chill out for the last few days and stuff. Yeah, fine, take on some roles, like I say, because Harrison Ford's in a new TV series, isn't he? Is it Shrinked or something? It's called
1923. Oh, and Shrink, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know about Shrinked. He is in 1923. He's great.
Yeah,
but I mean,
really good.
You know, like I say, just sort of let him grow old gracefully, but they just don't want to let him do that.
Stallone's retiring, isn't he? He's actually stepping back now. He said Tulsa King's going to be his last role, and then he's going to go back into directing.
Yeah,
directing at least, yeah.
Yeah, that always sounds like to me that band that's on. This is their final tour, you know, until 5 years later.
The Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I mean, Arnie, you said Tulsa King wasn't woke. It's not, but there is one ridiculous scene in there where he sends the black guy with cash to go buy a car, and they're like suspicious about it, and he gets all mad because he thinks it's about race. It's like, dude, you sent in this guy with cash, and they assumed he was a criminal, and you're mad at him because you think they assumed it was because of race. And it's like, well, maybe, but you are criminals. God damn it!
Exactly.
That's how he got the money. What are you getting so uptight about it for?
I do. Yeah, I suppose that is true. I mean, like I say, I didn't see that as that way, but yeah, like I say, I do see what you're saying there now.
If you think about it, it's like, what? Well, any car dealer worth their salt would like be going, nobody's going to just buy a car for cash and just walk off. You got title, you got registration, you got all kinds of shit you got to comply with the government, especially in America. It's just ridiculous. And it's like, what? Yeah, of course they thought it was suspicious. Why are you acting this way? You know, it was just so, it was a sore thumb sticking out in the middle of an otherwise great program, right? And that's what I saw it in Otto. We'll talk about that later, but I mean, same kind of deal. It's just generally good, but then you have to put this one little thing in there that just doesn't make sense, and it's clearly just a ham-fisted attempt to virtue signal.
Yeah, like I said, they can't just leave it alone these days, can they? It's got to be crowned in there.
Is Arnie all action packed in his foobar then?
He gets hit in the balls.
But the series itself looks fairly action packed, so I'm going to say yes. So I mean, you know,
it's not a film.
No, it's a show for Netflix, and so like I say, it looks like it's going to be, but you know, like I say, in that guise of True Lies, because I mean, obviously True Lies was quite, you know, action packed, and so
they've just turned that into a show, haven't they?
Oh yeah,
apparently it's as awful as everyone was expecting.
What a shocker! Like I say, it's rare. It's rare that they come up with anything new. So let's move on then to some unfortunate, sad news this week. Tom Sizemore. I did read it, but just remind me, how was it he died? He had a brain aneurysm, didn't he, or something?
Had a stroke.
Yeah.
It was an aneurysm, yeah.
And so basically the doctors said that he was on life support, but there was just going to be, he wasn't going to make it. So the family had to make the decision to turn it off, didn't they?
It depends who you read. I mean, I've read over here, I think it was Sky, fucking idiots. He died in his sleep. No, he had a stroke.
I was going to say, if he was in a coma, then technically that's true.
Yeah, well, again, it goes back to the whole misinformation of 1984, doesn't it? They're not officially lying, but,
yeah,
reading
it's funny
between the lines.
I've got Google on my phone that I never usually use, but it's got like a Google News page, and sometimes I read through there, and it says, it gives a headline of something, and then I look at it, and it says like the Daily Mail. Yeah, I'll ignore that. Yeah, because it's just like, what's the point? Because it's not going to be, none of it's going to be true. They've extrapolated information from 5% of the story for it. But yeah, Tom Sizemore. Now, I mean, I had a look up of his films. How many films do you think he made according to IMDb? Or how many credits do you think he had his name? So not just movies, obviously TVs as well. But how many do you think?
I don't know. I reckon
229.
Yeah, stop looking it up, you cheat. and technically you're wrong, because there's 29 up. There's 29 up and coming. So
That's
I mean,
true. I did miss that.
But I mean, yeah, 230 odd credits to his name. And like I say, when I looked it up, I was thinking I can name maybe like 10, 12, at a push, but like 200, that's pretty good going.
Looking at his, I just want to say, looking at his IMDb credits for the last 3 years, like we interviewed Sybil Lake from Central Park Dark. She did that movie with Tom Sizemore, and she admitted, it was cheap. She only could take one take on a lot of things. She had him he's in it for quite a bit, but it's kind of I guess like a Fatal Attraction style type movie a little bit, where she has things go wrong, and it's obviously was made on the cheap, and it looks like he did a lot of this kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if it was similar to what Bruce Willis had to do at the end of his career. He is going to be in Cobra Kai next season.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But other than that, I mean, he's done some what do you call it? TV here and there too. But most of these movies they look like straight to video.
I was going to say, I want to say that I always kind of saw him as, and I mean this with all due respect, a bit of a second-rate actor. But then conversely, he's in things like Saving Private Ryan. And so when you get cast by Steven Spielberg to be in a movie like that, you do think to yourself, yeah, he's obviously not a second-rate actor. He's actually a very, very good actor. But maybe it's just his age.
I think he was a very good actor, but he also had a lot of demons off screen. Yeah. I think that
he was on all the drugs, all the alcohol.
Yeah.
When he even admits, as I understand it, he says, when the alcohol didn't work, I turned to cocaine. When cocaine didn't work, I turned to heroin. And so, I mean, when you abuse yourself for as long as he did, and you got to admit, probably smoking and other stuff, it's no wonder his brain explodes at the end. I mean, I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think this is one of those where it's like, because already I'm already saying, oh no, you had the jab. I'm like, I don't know. If the jab was the final thing, whatever. It's like, come on, you can't pump yourself up with that much shit for 20 years and not expect there to be some sort of consequence.
There was a guy. I was going to say, there's a guy over here.
He's a medical experiment gone wrong.
There was a guy over here called oh grief, hang on a minute. No, carry on talking. I got completely drawn a blank on his name a second.
Tom Sizemore's problem was the fact with all his alcohol and substance abuse, he wasn't English like Keith Richards and Ozzy Osbourne.
Well,
that's
I
right.
was just going to bring up I was just going to bring up Father Ted, who was played by a guy called Dermot Morgan, who was an Irish guy who basically smoked more cigarettes than you could possibly count and drank, and he only died at it was like 60s, I think it was. But again, you pump yourself full of that stuff for long enough, and it's going to do some damage in the end, type of thing.
I think you get Kate. I mean, Sarah's nan, my wife's nan. I think she was about 96, and she was drinking lager and smoking fags pretty much every day. So she had a good old run. I think it's just genetics, isn't it? I mean,
I think the cocaine and heroin is kind of a deal breaker on this.
Yeah, I don't think Sarah's mum was doing that.
Yeah, that's right. Alcohol, you're fine. Smoking, no trouble. Cocaine, ooh, no.
Yeah. Mind you, I'll tell you what, you get Sarah's nan on the dance floor. I'm sure she was probably doing a few lines in the old back toilets.
I'm pretty sure Sizemore was doing it all at the same time, too. You know?
Yeah. Looking at his,
it's sad.
Oh,
he was a good actor. I liked him in Saving Private Ryan and Heat and some other stuff that he did. He had a good, he didn't look like a pretty boy. He was a character actor, and he played some good, interesting roles. And it's a shame he couldn't get away from all that.
I keep thinking he was in Reservoir Dogs, but he's not.
No.
Who
But
cut the cops?
Oh
no, it's Michael Madsen. I'm thinking of Michael Madsen. Sorry.
Very similar ilk, them two, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But I was just looking up at some of his stuff. He was uncredited in Point Break as a DEA agent.
Right.
He was in things like Passenger 57, but then also like True Romance, Wyatt Earp, Natural Born Killers, Strange Days. Heat, obviously, The Relic, which is one of those films I fondly remember being quite entertaining. Enemy of the State, he was uncredited. And then, like I say, there's a lot of bits and pieces where he's in, where you're looking at it and sort of going, yeah, we just needed a paycheck for that, obviously.
Why did the intruder?
He had great screen presence. It's just a shame he had so many demons, because he really could have been one of the greats. He could have been a real. He could have been something really special. But there you go.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking up sort of like more of the modern stuff, and there's a load of stuff here I've never heard of, which is most unusual. But yeah, it's a shame to see, unfortunately, poor Tom Sizemore passing away. So
he's gone.
Yeah. R.I.P. Tom Sizemore, and thoughts, prayers, family, blah blah blah. Seems as Sean's not here, we can talk about Mando as much as we like.
But we can.
So
what if we don't like?
Yeah, well, Matt absolutely loves it because it's got little Grogu in it.
It's not Grogu or Baby Yoda.
It didn't just have little Grogu in it, Phil. It had little Grogu hugging even
the
smaller
little things.
merchandising opportunities.
Matt, you need to hand in your man card and cut off your penis.
I'm getting old and mellow. Do you know what, Yoda? I'll tell you what. If we just switch it to Picard for a minute, I'm very much like Worf, where I always used to an angry, aggressive young man, and now I'm getting older. I'm a little bit more. Want a cup of tea? And I was watching Mando 3. I was watching Mando episode 3, and I feel I'm not even going to apologise for it. When I see those little dudes fixing that thing, I was just like, do you know what? It just reminded me of like Return of the Jedi, with these little practical monsters and all that. And I was like, that's quite good. I quite enjoyed it.
You know what? Child. That irritated the hell out of me, because it's like that little guy it was in Rise of Skywalker.
Babu Frick, he was called in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Right.
Which was stupid in Rise of Skywalker. But anyway.
Well, he was the only thing that people seemed to like out of that movie. Everybody seemed to like Babu Frick, or people responded positively to him. So let's get 3 of them and put them in Mando along with Grogu. Let's get all the cute in there. What about the story? It's just a video game quest. Go here, then take a side quest here, then take a side quest. Did anything happen? No.
I'm sorry. I think one of the best things out of the Rise of Skywalker was also Zori Bliss, arse in that outfit. That was can't think of her name now. Kerry Russell's.
Russell's ass.
So why did we get 3 of them?
Yeah, I don't know. She's a special creature, that Kerry Russell.
Yeah, just the asses are just in there trying to fix things. It's just
I know
great.
voice. She's got such a great voice as well.
I just thought it sucked. The beginning makes no sense when they are in the water. First, I thought it was a flashback. I thought that was a flashback where they were giving the helmet.
Yeah, I did.
And then it turns out, no, it's not.
Obviously to a girl as well. They had to give it.
No,
it was a modern audience. You're right.
It's a girly boy. Don't worry. But they give him the helmet, and then this alligator comes out, and it's like there's no way he could have came out of that depth, unless the drop off is like a sheer cliff right behind him.
Yeah.
And then once he's out, he's standing, but his body is still way out over where he came up. So how is his back end of the crocodile still standing? And then they want to use ropes that he correctly just rolls over and flings Mandalorians all over the goddamn place.
Right. The problem I found afterwards with this was in the Book of Boba Fett, which you had to get to understand how Grogu got back to Yoda. Apparently there's been a couple of years between the two of them. So it was at the end of season 2. It's now 2 years, like a couple of years later, and so Grogu and Yoda are back together. But in the Book of Boba Fett, the armorer says she's there with this other guy, and with Din Djarin gone, he says, "Oh, there's only 3 of us left now." Not according to that episode, there wasn't. There was like a whole stack of them.
Yeah, it's been 2 years though.
No. That's what I mean. It's been 2 years, but the Book of Boba Fett was 2 years later. So obviously, this recruiting's happened in the last few weeks. Apparently,
it's been 2 years since Boba Fett to where we are now with Mando. Since Yoda or Grogu, what the fuck he's called, since he left Luke, it's been 2 years. We're catching up 2 years later when he rejoined Mando.
But I thought he got him back. I thought he got Grogu back in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, he did, and then it's been Mando season 3 is now 2 years after that.
I love how you guys are acting like any of this shit matters.
But again, it's just but it's you see that they showed that introduction again. This is something else that annoyed me. They showed the introduction from the Book of Boba Fett when Boba Fett went back to Jabba's palace and killed Bib Fortuna. Right, I double checked this. Bib Fortuna was on the sail barge that blew up. There was no way Bib Fortuna was alive. No way.
Yeah, I'd never consider him surviving. Anyone surviving that.
Not paying attention to the details. That's what I don't like about this show. Anyway, Yoda, carry on.
No, he hid behind Jabba's corpse, and it shielded him from all the flame because that's a lot of corpse.
And then he walked across the desert back to where they were. No.
If Boba could do it without his armor.
Yep. Bob Fortuna can.
Anyway,
I saw you didn't like
I don't
Mando.
care.
I liked it. It had big crocodiles.
There was nothing that happened.
And pirates.
What did you like? I don't get it. Nothing happened.
I like the fact that I could sit there for half an hour and not listen to the missus, or not think about work, or not worry about what fucking politicians are up to. I could just sit there for 30 minutes and just switch off.
I feel like there's a lot of things that are probably better than this that you could do that with. I don't think it had to be this episode.
It was just nice after a long
This is the
week
best you can tell me about it, Matt. The best you can tell me about this episode is that they kept the wife quiet. Jesus Christ. Damning with fake praise doesn't even begin to cover it.
I liked it. I'm not going to lie.
I didn't get the fact as well, the whole IG-11 thing, that I understand he wants IG-11 back because he could trust it. But then I couldn't get it that he said his memories are erased. And so you're thinking, so just get a new droid. If his memory's gone, he's not going to remember anything that's happened beforehand. So just get a new droid. But again,
that's the way everyone go, oh, look, did you see the Terminator reference?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like
I'll give you that.
It's like, this is the only droid I can trust. It's like, well, not if you don't save his files before you shut him off. Otherwise, he's going to try to murder you again. Maybe that's not very trustworthy. Just saying. Seems like a lot of extra work.
And he says, if I take him down to the planet, I don't want him going schizoid again. And it's like, that's probably going to happen now because his memory's just been erased. So,
Can I offer you a protocol droid that can barely move more than 3 feet an hour? Just take him.
I love the fact as well that Chato, when you say about protocol droids, I love the fact that Chato said, because when he first landed and it sort of said, "Welcome to Navarro," and all of a sudden I'm thinking, who's doing the narration? And Chato said, imagine that droid walking around and you're near the entrance of this city or whatever, and every time somebody new comes through, you've got this droid going, "Hello, welcome to Navarro." Shut up! I know it's a peaceful bloody place now. Shut up!
That's Disneyland.
I can tell. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They are retooling. That Galaxy's Edge, and they're going to insert some more original, and they're going to put Mando in there. They're going to turn it into Navarro. I guarantee they want it to. When you watch that, and then you go to Galaxy's Edge, it's going to feel exactly the same. I guarantee that's what's happening.
Yep, it's just conditioning, Phil. That's all that was.
But you liked it, right? You love being conditioned.
I did. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it. I
Whip me, bitch. Whip me.
I enjoyed it.
I'm just picturing Kathleen Kennedy coming at you, and you got a ball gag in your mouth going, more.
It's not going if I don't push back.
You disappoint me.
I was going to say, what a brilliant argument. But again, it just felt like filler, and it like Yoda said, it was quest time. So I need to go to here to get this, and then there to go that, and then there to go that, and then they set up the Moss guy, Moss Nass, who's just covered with seaweed.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
it was literally swamp. Because I saw I think who wrote the article? Was it you, Phil?
Yeah,
it was you. And I looked at it and I was like, why has he put a picture of Swamp Thing on there? I was thinking perhaps he's taking a piss, and I was reading it. I was like, oh no, it's an actual character. Of all the creature designs in the world, you've basically taken Swamp Thing.
Hey, it's nice to see Warner lending out their characters. It kind of harkens back to Roger Rabbit, It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I was watching this thing everything is just, it was a video game. It really was. And there was nothing that happened. There was nothing I cared about. Why does he have to go bathe? If you're that short of people in your tribe, maybe kind of ease up on the whole removing the mask thing in front of people. It's getting a little silly. You're going to go extinct. Then what do you got left? I mean, you can look throughout history of different traditions that people kept that were discarded because of possible extinction, because of technology or whatever. Even church and everything, if you're going to be that sacred about this kind of stuff, you are going to die. And that apparently is what's going to happen to the Mandalorians.
What I did like, though, is the fact if they always wear their helmets, if two of them ever meet and fall in love, it is based on personality and not just on looks.
Or arse.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Or arse, yeah.
I just always wonder what happens if one of them switches armor with another. Shh, don't tell him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, swap helmets. Right, both turn around, swap helmets. So nobody saw.
Change the voice modulator. He'll think he's fucking you.
You pull Kerry Russell as a Mandalorian, next week you go around there and you're having a reefer around, she's got a cock and balls, you'll be like, what the fuck is going on?
No, it's me. Prove it. Yeah. I can't. This is the way.
Yeah. Stop being a bigot.
Yeah. Because it's funny, actually, you say that, because Zori Bliss never did take her helmet off, did she? So maybe she's like a budget Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I say, it was filler episode for me, and just like you say, just nothing really happened. It was kind of just cheesy setup.
It's not good when it's your season premiere. It should not be like that. It should. I mean, setup is fine, but it should be like, okay, I really want to see what's happened next. This is why I've been loving Picard, which is really making me want to stick a fork in my nards. But I love this season of Picard. It's really, Every episode makes me want to see the next one. I've rewatched them a couple of times. I'm like, going, it's not perfect. There are things I've had problems with. That second episode was a little, it needed some work, but the third episode is great, and I hear the fourth episode is really going to be gangbusters. We'll see.
Apparently, it gets better as well. From all,
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about it at the moment. I enjoyed episode 1. 2 was trash. 3 was all right.
2 wasn't trash, but it wasn't enough. 3 was good. They had some great character moments, especially between Picard and Crusher, and both of them were talking about, because it was a lot like the con where it's like, I stayed away. Why didn't you tell him? Why didn't you They had answers for all that. They go into a lot deeper, and his responses are perfectly justified. One of her excuses was a little weak, but then later on she had some much better ones, and you kind of understood where she was coming from. And the same with Picard and Riker. It's like both of them are correct, or at least they have good arguments of why they're taking the actions that they are. And one of them may turn out to be wrong, but you can understand why they came to their conclusions. It's not just filler, random nonsense to keep the story together.
I've got my two issues with Picard, Yoda, are Raffi. Gee, I just fucking hate that bitch. And 2 is Picard just seems so dismissive, so submissive, not dismissive, so submissive to everyone.
I don't see that in this show. Not this season. He has.
I have highs and I have real lows. I don't seem to have. I haven't found a middle ground with Picard just yet.
I see him. He has an admiral, and admirals don't really give orders on ships. Star Trek 2 is an anomaly. That doesn't really happen. But he's doing he's telling Riker what he thinks and where he's wrong, and Riker's the captain. I did really like that Captain Shaw, as much as he dislikes Riker Picard, he says, Riker, you're the captain now, because he was too injured to go on.
Yeah.
He didn't even hesitate. I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah, there's some good parts, but there's some parts that I'm just like, oh.
I've put it on my watch list, but I haven't quite got through. Yeah, I kind of want to watch it, but I don't know. I might just. I think I might wait till the series is finished and then binge the whole thing.
I don't blame you. I'm not because I want to write up the episodes, but it's been. I'm shocked, and I'm not going to say that this is like a return to form or they finally figured it out. We got one guy that's running this one season reasonably correctly. He's saddled by a few things. I will say Jonathan Frakes at least turned the lights on in that third episode. That was appreciated.
Yeah. I'll give it to Frakes. He is an absolute master at understanding Star Trek. He really does know his own head. It's a masterclass. If you ever see anything Star Trek related, he's got Jonathan Frakes' name attached to it. You know it's going to be good. I think the bloke.
Insurrection wasn't great.
Yeah, well,
just to come back. Sorry, just very very quickly. Gates McFadden. I saw an image of her randomly popped up somewhere, and it was of her and of Jennifer Connelly, because Kate McFadden worked as director of choreography and puppet movement on Labyrinth.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because she was a dancer, wasn't she? So, yeah.
She was a choreographer before she was an actress, yeah.
But, yeah, it was just this picture popped up, and I was like, oh, no way, she worked on that. And then just read up about it. It was like, oh, how strange. I didn't realise. Sorry.
I'll tell you what, if you watch some of the old... You sort of watch some of the Next Generation episodes, even the way she carries herself and she moves about the sets, you can see that she's very elegant. She's got great movement. She's not aged particularly well. I don't know if that's natural aging or she's had something done, but she was stunning back in the day. Back in the day, she was stunning. Lovely looking woman.
I still think she's still got it, you know? I mean...
She's not Madonna train wreck work. No, she's okay, but it's noticeable.
I've had worse. I've had worse. Hang on a minute. Darling, just come here a minute.
See the door handle in the background start rattling him and going, you prick.
Hey, that's what they invented paper bags for.
Right. So with Mando, again, I'm going to watch it to review it, but it's kind of just not really blowing my skirt up much at the moment.
Okay, we'll see.
Anyway, so let's move on.
Disappointing.
A Man Called Otto. This is about the driver of the school bus and The Simpsons. No, this is Tom Hanks's new one, which came out.
Get off my lawn!
I've been quite looking forward to this because I thought it looked quite good. And the trailer sold it as a sort of quirky little comedy of a grumpy old man, and it kind of reminded me of, or the trailer reminded me of, the Walter Matthau and Grumpy Old Men. Sort of these two, the sort of grumpy old guy, and there's people being nice to him and stuff. But this was a much more sort of a darker comedy because it actually deals with suicide. Because the main story is, which you find out quite early on in it, is that Tom Hanks has lost his wife. He's now retired, and he just finds no reason to live anymore. So he just wants to kill himself.
Forcibly retired.
Well, yeah.
Can I guess his wife committed suicide or something then?
No.
No. It was I don't want to sort of go too much into the story, but there is kind of like a whole backstory of what happens. And no, she just it was, I want to say, cancer. All right, saying that? I forget now.
It was.
Guys, you can go into it. I'm never going to watch it.
She had a lot of She had a lot of, that poor woman went through a lot of shit because she got pregnant. They go on a bus ride to Niagara. They're taking the bus back. The bus wrecks because nobody did the recall on the brakes. She loses the baby, and she's paralyzed, and she's in a wheelchair the rest of her life. She's a teacher. It reminded me a little bit of Up.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
It had a little bit of that.
I did think that they have, when he tries to kill himself on a couple of occasions, he has flashbacks to when he first met her, and I thought that those were very beautifully done, because initially he's on a train station and he sees her running and she drops a book, and so he's on a different platform and he goes, "Miss, you dropped your book," and he runs around, picks up the book and gets on the train and then finds her. But then finds he hasn't got enough money to pay for his fare, so she pays for it. And then there's a bit, the next flashback is they're having a meal together, and all he has is soup, I think it is, or chowder or something or other, and she has like a full steak. And she said, "Are you not hungry?" And he goes, "No, I ate before I came out." And she says, so-and-so. And he goes, "I couldn't afford it." He said, "I haven't got a job at the moment. My dad's just passed away," and stuff like this. And he gets to go up and leave, and she stops him. And genuinely, I was like, "That's really beautiful," because it was really sweet. It was really nicely done. It was beautiful. And then there were moments where you're laughing at it, but then also moments where you're crying at it. And I thought it lent quite heavily into sort of like the dark side of things, but did it in a nice way where you're still really engaged with the characters and everything that's going on. I thought it was, I genuinely loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I just wasn't as taken with it. I felt it was like, I mean, some of it is, this is Tom Hanks' Oscar bait movie kind of stuff, like he's, everything just kind of felt, I don't know, everything kind of felt quirky, and I think part of it is that if I went back to Up comparison, with Up you had a very brief, wordless, not a flashback, but a prelude to where we got.
Yeah.
And it expertly got you to figure out what was going on within, I don't know, 3 minutes, however long that stupid flashback will cause me crying far more than anything in this movie did. Because I mean, it very succinctly gets you to where you need to be at the start of the movie. Yeah. And in here, okay, he's buying the rope at the very beginning. It's the first thing you meet him pretty much is he's buying rope at a hardware store and he's bitching about how much he has to pay for it
because he wants
pay by
5
the
feet,
yard.
but they yard, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I know what you're doing with that much rope. You're going to kill yourself. Why are you bitching about 30 cents worth of fucking rope? You know, I'm already going, this is not logical to be acting like this. You know, it doesn't make any sense. And then sometimes he does things that are, you know, kind of brilliant. And sometimes he does things. It's like, why are you're doing this so everybody knows that you're cantankerous, not because you have a reason to be cantankerous. You know, and so it felt really disjointed to me, where it was like sometimes it's like it's really well done and kind of heartfelt and you like it, and sometimes it just felt kind of manufactured, like and I don't know how word for word this is in the book. I don't know when the book was written or, you know, how close it is to the book. So,
somebody said it's a remake of a Dutch film, I think, as well, and
the Dutch film was made from the book.
Right, okay.
And so I don't know if he wrote this trans kid in it, but that moment, the movie came to a screeching halt while they had their little virtue signal moment about trans kids, and then all of a sudden he chooses not to be cantankerous at all. And
I did completely roll my eyes at that.
It was so forced and inauthentic, and it's not like. I don't know if they built up that kid a little bit more or something. There might have been something there, because it wasn't like it was a big thing on trans people, but it was so inauthentic. And you know, like, look, I don't know many trans people, but I'm pretty sure the ones that I've seen or I do know are usually the activists, and they're really horrible. I mean, they're just mean. I'm sorry, they're just mean. The ones that are not activists and everything, they're just probably being quiet and left alone. And maybe she is one of the quiet and left alone ones. That's fine. But it's like you're trying to say they're all this nice, when if you're at all keeping up with anything today, you know that they're not. And that they're all about their cause and their virtue signal and shoving it in your face and being just awful. So it's like, why? Well, I know what you're doing. I know why you're doing it, but you drove the story to a halt, which was a nice little story. I disagree with all sprinkling out the flashbacks, because it explains things later on. And it's like, well, you're taking away the emotional punch of things that happened earlier. I don't like that. I think flashbacks I didn't done that way.
I didn't. I got the opposite from that. Like I say, that when you had those moments, I just thought they were so nicely done that I was more vested in the character.
I mean, I think this is just maybe a difference of taste and not necessarily the good or bad. Oh, okay. I found that there was a lot of things that were telegraphed, or I'm like going, oh, well, this must have happened in the flashback. We'll just have to wait to get to it. And you know, to me, it was kind of obvious, some of this kind of stuff. And so I was having trouble connecting, because it felt like if they had changed the structure around, it would have flowed a little bit more organically. And that would have done the story a world of good. It's not a terrible story or anything. Hanks does a good job, and I like some of the stuff that they were doing in it. And some of it just felt a little, I mean, they're trying to take out this condo place that people are in or renting, that this real estate company, I guess, is trying to kick people out.
Die America.
So they can yeah. But they're building things that to me look almost exactly the same. And I'm going, okay, why take this one out? Just refurbish it. That's what people do around here. They don't destroy homes because they're worth too much anymore. All you have to do is refurbish them, or you can do that, you know, flip and flop stuff that you see on HGTV, or, you know, you can take each unit as they go and just redo them, and you can make more money that way with a lot less cost. But I guess they're trying to kick them out, and to what end? It doesn't make any sense. It's just to show little guy defeats big guy. Okay, I get it, but why is the big guy trying to do this? It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm too into the real estate market, but that's like, this doesn't ring true to me. I don't get it.
It makes more financial. It makes more financial viability if he's invested in properties.
Well,
I mean,
you can
I
blow
got
up
it.
the entire thing and start from scratch, or you can use what's there and make it nice. One's a lot cheaper than the other and has a lot more money coming back to you. I don't understand what they're trying to do. And they don't tell me what they're trying to do. They just try to kick people out because they're big or mean. Okay. But what are you trying to do?
I suppose maybe that in like the original Dutch version or whatever, there might have been a more solid explanation towards that. Then I'm guessing.
Wonder,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
to me, this is a devil in the details kind of thing. There's good parts, but the details drive me nuts. This is what I nitpick on Star Wars, everything else. So I try to be the same way.
No, that's fair enough.
There's some details in here that I go, wait, that doesn't make sense, and then I get pulled out again. And that irritates me.
Like I say, I didn't know what I was expecting, and like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed it from beginning to end. I thought it was really well done, and I'm not going to sit there and lie, but I was crying at the end because it was really beautifully done.
My wife was too, and I'm like, oh, he's going to die. He's got an enlarged heart. Yeah, he'll die at the end.
Does he die?
Yeah. Everybody, I mean, it wasn't like it was even a secret. It's like they kept talking about his enlarged heart and his medical condition. I'm like, oh, he'll die at the end. Okay. But it won't be suicide. That will be the thing. And when you feel like it's telegraphed like that and then it does exactly, it's like, okay, well, I knew this, 30, 40 minutes ago.
But yeah, conversely though, he's tried suicide near the beginning of the movie, and then when he's actually sort of finding a reason to stay alive, then it's kind of nature taking its course and killing him, which I thought was an interesting take on it.
Why does he decide to stay alive? Because of the trans kid?
No. There's a whole basically there's some new neighbours move in, and they have kids who love like grumpy old Otto sort of thing, and the family are just a nice family, and there's different people around that he just finds a reason to sort of stay alive for, that he thinks because his wife's gone and because he hasn't got the job anymore, there's just no reason to carry on. But there are people out there that
heart attack at the end.
Well, no, like Yoda said, he's got an enlarged heart, and so he just causes problems. So, yeah, I suppose it probably was like a heart attack or something that caused it. But I like I say, I really rated it. I thought it was really good. It was just something a little bit different.
What happened with so he had a friend in the complex, and they both kind of did the HOA or something. And he said there was a coup, which I guess means he was kicked off the HOA. But I didn't understand why that happened, and I don't understand why he fell out with the friend so badly. I mean, I guess because of that, but why did they turn against him so badly?
I didn't get what I got from that was with the housing association thing. He got thrown out because he felt that the bigger corporation weren't making houses that were going to be friendly for his wife who was in the wheelchair. And so that's why he hated them so much, and that's why he had and that's why he got kicked out, because he obviously attacked that guy. I think him and his friend. No, go on.
Well, I guess I don't understand. They're living someplace. He's already got a wheelchair ramp. They're not going to be redoing their place. He owns it, so it's up to him. And if they're building new stuff without wheelchair accessibility, I mean, that's not good. They should, but I'm pretty sure they have to. And they've had to do that since the 90s anyway. So that's the law. And secondly, at least in America it is. And secondly, what does he care? I mean, I guess he cares for his wife. I understand that, but they're not going to move into one of those new things. He had no interest in moving in one of those new things. He's already got his stuff set up. So why would he throw such a stink that he would get himself thrown out of the HOA? I mean, it just feels weak, I guess.
I don't know. It's weird that you say that now, because the way you're putting it kind of makes sense. But I didn't get that when I was watching it. That I understood that why he didn't want that there, and why they were causing so much problems to him.
I mean, and then the HOA, it's like, well, we're going to support these people building new stuff that we have nothing to do with because it's different condos. Obviously, I've missed something here, but I mean, I just kept scratching my head sometimes on this kind of stuff. The flashbacks were nice. I agree. They were well done. It was his son, by the way, playing him. as a young
Oh, really?
man. Truman Hanks, I believe. Yeah.
I did not. Oh no, I did see. It's funny enough. I did see the name in the credits, but I didn't check. But okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah. So that was a nice little thing there, and he played it well, and it was a nice. They had a lot of meet cutes, and that was all fine. But again, it was sprinkled out. I think this is one of those where I just feel like structure failed this movie, and then some of the things that they just didn't explain well enough to give you as an audience member to understand. Oh yeah, that's bad. I want them to win that. Okay, yeah, the guy wants to kick him out because that's all real estate guys want to do. They want to kick people out of their homes. No, they don't. They want to sell homes. They want to get most many people in there as they can.
China.
But that is true, because that's what all of movies say in America. The big corporations are obviously big and evil, and all that is fighting against the little man.
Look, you're not going to get me to defend a corporation here, but most of the time it's all this ESG stuff.
Like Disney, they're great. They love us.
Yeah, I agree. They're doing nonsense things, and but you got to understand the why they do the nonsense things and what their motivations are, why they do these things, and then work to make it harder for them to make money that way, make money the good way, right? But in this, none of this makes any sense. Kicking people out of their homes and turning it into slums is not going to make more money for them. It's going to depress the property values. Is that what they were doing? I don't know. I can't tell. They don't tell me. It was those are just one example, just the things that just take me out. Okay. And I'm like going, you have a nice little thing here about a guy trying to find purpose in a life now that his wife left and his whole life revolved. That's Up. Up is the same thing, right? Carl finds purpose in taking care of the little Boy Scout kid, and the dog and the bird, and having an adventure and finding reason to go on. That's a great message. I love that message. It's a good thing to put a movie around. It's just all the details. So that's the theme. That's a great theme. I love it. That's good. Everything else just kind of was like, but you could have done this better, that better, and that. You're taking away from this main theme that would have, you had a good one and you fucked it up.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, it's funny now because I won't mind tracking down the original Dutch whatever version or Norwegian or whatever it was and giving that a watch, because I think that'll be quite interesting. But like I say, I liked it. I thought it was a nice little story and it was heartfelt, and it was the first time in a long time I've actually enjoyed just watching a series of characters, doing their thing. Usually I lose interest in characters, particularly on modern films.
Yeah, I can't say I lost interest. I mean, I stayed all the way through the end. This is one of those movies where I'm frustrated more than angry or just say it sucks. It's not just, it just sucks. It is better than that. It's just frustrating.
Oh, fair enough. So, Matt, you're going to watch it now then?
Never going to. No, I ain't. I looked at the trailer, I was like, that looks like a load of shit. And I'm glad I ain't bothered.
You if you want to see a grumpy old man, you'll just look in the mirror, won't you, mate?
I will just literally exactly. Yeah. No,
that's why he comes here every Sunday.
Nothing about it interested me whatsoever. I was surprised that you wanted to see it, Phil, if I'm honest.
I don't know. To me, it's just, again, it's something which is just a bit more interesting than the normal stuff that I've been. It's so weird the last few days. I've had like a 4-day weekend. It's been great. I've still got Monday off, and I've had this wonderful 4-day weekend, but I've been trying to find stuff to watch. So I'm going through new movies, and it's all crap. It's all just crap, and it's stuff I just don't want to watch. So I've been going back to the 80s, and I watched 80s and 90s. I watched yesterday Tammy and the T-Rex, Denise Richards and Paul Walker. I know, I'd never heard of it either. And it's
that's so bad. Red Letter Media did that one as best of the worst.
It was terrible, but I found it far more enjoyable than sort of like Ant-Man, which is sort of like this multi-million-dollar. The story was this evil scientist builds a giant mechanical robot and then gets a teenage kid who's in a coma and takes his brain and puts it in the large mechanical robot T-Rex that goes around killing people until it finds its true love again. Right? It was chronic. It was chronic, right?
And what was Denise Richards?
Yeah.
What was her part in
Yeah.
it? Denise Richards.
She was the because it was made in 1995ish, I think, and so she's like the hot young girl who and the lad is played by Paul Walker before
No wonder he killed himself.
No, yes, obviously before he died. But
just couldn't get over that on his resume. Finally, just right to a brick wall.
He's got everything we need, but he is dead. But no, with it was terrible. Well, when I read the synopsis, I thought, yeah, I'm up for that. And like I say, it's absolutely terrible, but I found it far more enjoyable than I can't remember what else I watched recently. I'm gonna have to look it up a minute. Hang on. Of other modern stuff that I've watched, where I've just sat there and thought, this is rubbish. I've not enjoyed this at all. Hang on a minute, I'm looking at. I have to keep a log because otherwise I just forget. I also watched Action Jackson, which was very good.
You watched He-Man as well.
Yes, yeah. Again, that popped up on a list.
I saw that on Twitter.
I haven't seen that for ages, and that is it's awful movie. But again, I was entertained. I was entertained by it. That's what I watched. Was again, it's just kind of came around. It was fairly new. It's 2000 and something or other. The Collector, which is like a horror movie.
Right.
And again, it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was
Shite.
rubbish. It was absolute rubbish. I'm
Do you
just
know
trying
what
to find
last
something.
night? I watched it with my youngest. We watched Endgame.
Oh yeah.
Do you know? I'm not a big Marvel fan. You know that. Hence, fucking that and that crap. But I can't be honest. It was a lot better than I remember. I've not seen it for a few years. It was a lot better than I remember. It was one of those films that I found up. I didn't pick my phone up.
It's one of those. That's because you have
that.
the. That's because you have the advantage of having seen new Marvel, and you have
That is exactly
so much
the
shit
point
to
I was
compare.
going to make.
It's like, wow, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah, that was my point. That's exactly what I was going to say. When it first came out, I was like, oh yeah, it was all right. It's a Marvel film. It was fun. But I think having seen where Marvel have gone over the last few years with Phase 4 and She-Hulk and God knows, I watched it. I was like, God damn, that was a good film. That was a good film.
I see. To me, I do fondly remember that because I managed to see it in the cinema when it first came out, and it was at the Leicester Square Odeon as well. So I mean, it was like a packed out event, and I do remember the whole when Captain America gets the hammer, the audience went nuts, and it was great. And
really?
I mean, I've watched that. Oh yeah, it was because you see the hammer move.
Yeah, but we don't do that in England.
No, that's the thing, and. When Captain
better not be
picked it up,
an American culture creeping into the UK. I won't stand for that.
You're allowed to at stuff like that. You're allowed to at stuff like that because that was quite an epic moment. It was it's great. But I've watched the film a few times since then because again, if it comes up on a list now and then, I actually go, oh yeah, go on and put it on. And again, it's just a well-made film. It's just a well-made film.
I enjoyed it from start to end. I've got to be honest. And I'm not a big Marvel fan, but I was like, actually, hats off. That was better than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
Yeah,
again,
I think
like
Infinity War is better, but it's all good.
Yes.
They make a good, again, conclusion to the whole thing.
Yes.
With the both of them. That's what was good about them. But yeah, with them, and like I say, with the modern stuff, there's loads of stuff that keeps coming up on my list, and I just sort of, no, don't fancy that. No, don't fancy that. No. I'm
going to go see Creed 3 next week.
Oh, fair enough.
I was going to ask about that. It's got a 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and in comparison, Creed 2 had only an 80% and 83%. Okay. So I don't know. It sounds like people like this. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm going to go and see it next week with Son 4. Son 3 saw it on Friday with his girlfriend. Son 3, he's well into his boxing, and he said it was shit. Son 4 really wants to see it. I'm not into my Rocky. I'm into my boxing, so I don't particularly like the Rocky films. So, but I'm going to go and watch that. And I'll tell you what, the other thing I'm really excited to see is 65. So I might go see them twice next week.
That does look like fun.
That's out
next week, I think.
10th in England. So what's that? It's Friday, isn't it? Yeah, it's Friday.
Just to go back, I was just looking through that list. That collector was house. Somebody breaks in, there's somebody else in there who's a serial killer. But what I was laughing all the way through it, because this collector who kills everybody sets up these really elaborate traps to ensnare people. And I keep thinking, when did he get time to do this? Because it's like, I mean, genuinely, there must be about like 10 different traps, which all involve kind of like the similar things to
house renovations.
yeah, and stuff. And in the end, in my head, I was sort of going on a YouTube channel, and it's like, hi, and welcome to Murdering 101. Now, you don't just want to kill your victim. You want to hang them upside down, first of all, before you gut them. Yeah. We're going to show you how to do it safely and securely so that nobody gets hurt.
Let's start by building the new foundations for an extension in your garden. You had 3 hours until they come home from work.
Yeah, exactly. And I kept thinking, when did he get a chance to do all this? This is utterly ludicrous. And it was, I think, recently there were an article came up, and I mentioned Don't Breathe. And again, that was quite intriguing until the fact that he's got a blind man has got a girl in his basement, which he's managed to get pregnant with a turkey baster, and he's looking after her. And I'm going, what? Like, no. And again, people are sort of going, oh, yeah, it's a brilliant movie, though. And I'm going, it's really not. This is utterly ridiculous.
Why did he impregnate her with a turkey baster?
Oh, I don't know. It's
surely
honestly,
if you've got her as a hostage, you're just going to rape her anyway. Now we're going into Sean's field of expertise.
But just
I could get away from this, but they won't let me.
No, I was just saying that there was, with this collector, it was utterly ludicrous, the fact that the complexity of these things that he set up. At one point, he put glue all over the floor or something or other, which the cat got stuck to, which was quite funny. But again, I'm thinking, seriously, surely somebody's figured something out down at the hardware store, and I'm going to need so and so. Have you got something I can attach lots of knives to that can sort of swing around and hit somebody with, And
yeah,
it was was crazy.
Now, Matt, I know next weekend you could see 65, which looks like kind of an original sci-fi / dinosaur movie, kind of a new thing we hadn't seen before. But have you considered Scream 6?
I did consider it, and then I quickly come to the conclusion after about half a second that no.
Then I discarded it.
No, that was brilliant. No. I decided no.
I mean, the fact that I want to go and see Adam Driver fighting dinosaurs 65 million years ago rather than Scream 6 says it all.
Or see Ghostface hack the plastic surgery off of Courtney Cox's face. Ah, boy.
The worst part about this is this is a gentle reboot of the Scream franchise now, because Courtney Cox, not Courtney Cox, but Nev Campbell, who was the main reason for the killing in the first one, is now not even in this movie. And so this is just now another soft reboot where it's going to be a whole new bunch of kids copying, and it's just, this is never going to stop, is it? This is never going to end.
This is what I was thinking about. It's 65 because it's 65 million years ago. So we're going to go a countdown all the way down to 0. So we're going to get 65 of these films as a franchise.
I don't blame Nev Campbell, though. I mean, being in a teenage slasher movie really loses its luster when you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
But
keep digging them out. Well, I'm going to go see Creed 3 and 65 next week. So I'm actually going to go to cinema twice in 1 week, which is a rarity.
We may try to go see Creed. I don't know what we're doing next weekend. We'll see. But I got too much stuff going on, and I'm just doing my best just to keep the damn website together. I pulled one more trick out of my hat. We'll see if it works, but we're probably going to have to upgrade it. So those of you who've been on the website knows the database connection is unreliable, whatever the error is. Sorry.
Why does it do that?
I think it's running out of memory.
Okay. Is that because we're getting too many hits, or because we got too much crap on there? I mean, too many interesting articles. Well, no, because like the pictures, we've got way too many pictures on that site. Way too many.
Well, the pictures are just stored. They're not really in the database. It's really a matter of
Okay.
the database gets big. I mean, we have a 4 gig database. It's not getting any smaller, and we only have 4 gig of RAM. So I need to get a new virtual server, and unfortunately, they can't just like I've been. Those of you who are in IT, you'll understand me. Those of you who are not, sorry, but when you create virtual servers with VMware and you want to add memory, you just put in a new number and click OK, and it adds the new memory. It's great. But not my site. They say, no, if you want to move it, you're going to have to migrate it into a new server, which means it's just going to be a whole thing. And I'm probably looking at that, doing that in July. But I'll just have to muddle through. But I'm hoping that removing the lab site that I had, I just got rid of it because I never use it anymore. And the database that goes along with it will help.
Okay. We shall see then.
Indeed. Oh, right. Okay. Well, like I say, I kind of wondered what was going on, but that kind of makes sense to me now. But I mean, we did a little while ago talk about, which again is one of those things I'm still trying to work on, of having making it a review site for people, so people can leave their own reviews and own star ratings and stuff. But again,
then they can enjoy all the crashes just like the rest of us.
Well, there's obviously some way of doing it because other places do it. So there's obviously a way of doing it. So
yeah, places with money.
I see. Right, okay.
You need to start getting your tits out per live stream, Phil, and just charging people to have it like an OnlyFans.
Hey,
an OnlyFeels.
It's not politically correct. They're called moobs.
Moobs. Start getting your moobs out, Phil. Heidi will pay. Heidi will chuck you
I'm going to go start working out like I said I would, and then when I get ripped, then I'll take my shirt off. No, I won't. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. Don't apologise to us, mate. We've got no interest, I'll tell you.
Right. And any of the female listeners on our site are going to be like, yeah, no, don't do that, please. I'm under no illusions.
Righty-ho. Yoda, are you going to wrap up for us for the end of the stream then?
Yes, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.
Very tired. Thank you very much for watching. This has been another magnificent, amazing, incredible presentation from the group at lastmovieoutpost.com. For all the latest in movie news, streaming news, we are the cool news now. You can reach us at Movie Outpost. I always go the wrong way. There we go. At Boba Phil. I'm at Drunken Yoda 1. He's at Matt Aggie Wags. You get to us at Facebook at /Last Movie Outpost and at Instagram at Last Movie Outpost. And again, we appreciate all the comments, the shares, the likes, and subscribes you can give us. And please visit the site during the week. We have new news every single day. How's that?
Very good. Well done. Those acting classes are really paying off.
Yep. That's $50,000 worth of classes. Can't even tell.
You can't even tell, darling. More.
That's right. And you guys are sitting there going, and why don't we have any money for the website?
Phil's getting his left nipple out again.
I was just acting about the money.
Worth every
All right, guys.
penny.
Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next stream.